One of the most popular games of our time, a genre-defining series, Dark Souls, the second of its type after Demon Souls, coming out September 22nd, 2011. After the success in Demon Souls in America, Bandai Namco, seeing how well Demon Souls did, immediately jumped at the chance to make another one. FromSoft, also seeing a chance to get to the top, went straight to making the next game and wanting an immediate piece of that money. Miyazaki learned from the mistakes of Demon Souls, but also the successes, making a game that felt new but also the same, with Bandai being the publisher, so Dark Souls was no longer an exclusive title. Demon Souls was exclusive to PlayStation, and Dark Souls could have been if PlayStation didn't pull the plug. Dark Souls starts with the story of the First Flame. Dragons controlled the land until the finding of the First Flame, which gave powers to those to stand up against the dragon. But slowly the flame extinguished, leaving only an ember left. With promises to rekindle the flame, we begin Dark Souls. I began with the warrior class as it seemed the most balanced. I typically don't go into a Souls game knowing what kind of build I want to use. I typically just find what works throughout my playthrough. We start off as a lowly undead in a prison cell, until saved by this man Oscar, who allows us to escape this hell. We learn the basics, which are the same as the last game. Your weapons have basic swings, strikes, and the dodge roll. It feels a lot better than the roll in Demon Souls, even in the remake. But with a broken sword and the indomitable human spirit, with a Red Bull, with all our might we go and fight the asylum demon and get absolutely cooked. They want you to run to the side and come back to him later, but see, I don't want to. I don't want to put my pride on the side. I'm going to beat this first boss and prove how good I am.
20 minutes later.
Okay, after 20 hits, I've done jack shit damage. I'll come back later. And actually, later is not that far away. See, running around, you find your starting gear, the sword you chose. This game waits to give you your weapons just to really make you feel like a punk ass bitch. But once you get your gear, the man who saved you is defeated. He seems almost dead. He asks you to ring the bells of awakening, rekindle the flame, and on his deaths he gives you an Estus flask to help. This is the healing in the game. Per rest, you have a limited amount of heals per area. If you kindle the flame at the bonfire, you will have 10. If not, you'll have 5. But later on, you can kindle bonfires even more to get up to 20. Also deholify at bonfires by using humanity to become human again. Humanity is the source to kindle these flames, and it's such a fun lore reason. Humans lose their humanity and are being turned into undead, but with humanity they can keep holding on just a little bit longer. But now it's time to return to the asylum demon. The game gives you a nice airborne jump attack, which makes this fight so much easier. One of the new attacks in this game, similar to Demon Souls, it's very the same. Now you have falling attacks and this big jump roll. So when you're running, you can press the roll button again to do a jump and a roll. But with good gear, this guy's a raven then yoinks used to Firelink Shrine, this game's nexus. And of course, we have our starting area D1 up. I didn't mention this in the last game, but there is typically someone at the very beginning of the game who just sits there calling you a punk ass. Ugh, what's that smell? Ew, it's just you. Oh wow, didn't know comedians was still around. You have 3 paths to move from. The graveyard, which brings you to the catacombs, the ghost town, but the way to go is the undead burrow. You can't even fight the ghosts, you won't hit them, and the skeletons are just too powerful. This is the town full of undead, just like you. Yo, is that Jimmy? I picked up a spear, which I used for the next boss, the Taros demon. His large cubs makes things somewhat difficult, but honestly, it's nothing crazy to talk about. Leaving, of course, this dragon at the bridge, as always, burning us to death. Second time I've seen this. And outside, I found this man praising the sun. Solaris. One of the many people you'll meet in this game, and one of my favorite NPCs. His goal is to find his son. Not literal sun, but like the light in the world. Now, this just gets us deeper in the undead burrow. I found a shortcut back to Firelink, and this large gate seems important, and lowered down a blacksmith. Oh, what's up, old man? This guy is my goat on today. But after being lost for about 10 minutes, I realized there were stairs. Oh, to the bell gargoyles. I had a bit of trouble until I cut off its tail, gaining the axe, but then found a halberd during my exploration and was easily able to melt his health. And of course, there's a second one. And they breathe fire. I'm getting man-eater flashbacks, but it's a lot more doable. And if you time your attacks right and get the first one's health down really quickly, the fight is not that difficult. We ring the first bell of awakening, and our first task is done. Soon after, I went back to the blacksmith, and trekked through the dark root forest to get the moonlight butterfly. This boss is simply just dodge enough and expend your entire stamina bar. I thought it was going to be way more difficult than it actually was, but Moonlight Butterfly is pretty easy. I then retraced my steps, and I defeated this Black Knight. Ran past earlier, and he drops the Black Knight Greatsword. Of course, I didn't have the strength to wield it, but I soon will. I did make this weapon my main weapon throughout the whole game. I just love how the Greatswords feel, just being able to hit with all my might. But this game has so many options. Game, axes, halberd, curved swords, every weapon feels so different. And then there's magic still in this game. Didn't use it much, but I know it's pretty much the same as Faith. As well makes a return now, but with some offensive capabilities. And lastly, the new magic, pyromancy. This is just fire magic, but it has its own placing, and it doesn't really require any stats to use it. I think it's a smart way to do this as it relates to the story. Like this man who teaches us pyromancy said, we channel fire like our ancestors, the one who first kindled the flames. Tracking back after ringing the first bell, our goal is to go to the depths and ring the second bell down below. And after passing some more undead and getting jumped and sneak attacked, our next boss, the Taurus Demon, a faster boss than the past two. He also has this dog that really just pisses me off as he's fast with his attacks while I'm having to dodge this. Yeah, it's a lot. But he has long staggers, so he's easy to get damage off. This does give us the key that brings us down to the depths and a bunch of rats and death plague. This is just what I wanted. The rats are easy enough. There again, just rats. I just use my halberd to play keep away. Back, critty, back! But the big things to watch out for is these bugs with death blight. If that meter fills, you die instantly and get cursed. Half of your health just gone until you can break the curse. But these deaths lead us to the gaping dragon. Oh, it's just a little alligator. Oh. Luckily, you can call upon aid for this boss, either Solaris or Luctris, making this fight very easy. Solaris is the goat, and Lotric is a. Anyways, after this fight, I have some options. The big one is to go further into the depths and continue down to the. Nope, that's poison swamps. I ain't doing that. I decided to go back to New Londo, and I still can't fight these ghosts. Okay, catacombs it is. This area is pretty short, but can be a chore when you're trying to explore with these skeletons that just won't die. Please, just stay down. You have to kill a wizard in each block to make sure the skeletons stay down, but you're also being chased by hundreds of these. While you're being chased, there is a casket you can rest in. Oh, good. They'll never find me here. Leads us to Nito, and you can form a covenant with him, and he'll give you the Great Lord's Sword. This is what I used until I was ready for the Black Knight's Great Sword. I had the strength at this point, but not the stamina. I would swing this sword once, and all my stamina would be gone. But this leads us right to the next boss, except these damn Beyblades are in the way. They'd be eating at my health. Now, this boss is the easiest boss in Dark Souls. Pinwheel. This man just dies in a few hits, and it's like Fool's Idol. He makes clones, but he's beyond easy. He gave me the best buff in the entire game, though, the Rite of Kindling, allowing me to finally buff my kindling to 20 Estus Flasks. Now, the downside, curiosity got the best of me, and I went into the Tomb of the Giants, and I couldn't see anything. And then I fell down a massive hole, and I lost 20,000 souls. You're like, oh, you could have just retraced your steps and got it. But see, I tried to be cheeky, and I tried to take a shortcut, and I messed up the shortcut, and I fell again. See, in Demon Souls, losing souls meant nothing to me because I beat the game. I was like, it's whatever, I'll get them back. In this game, losing one soul generally makes me start tweaking. I decided to grind to get my souls back by killing enemies over and over. It took a little bit of time, but it wasn't that big of a deal. And with this, I bought the key to the gate in the Darkwood Forest. This is a continuation of the forest, but with human-like enemies. Followers of this cat and a Taurus. They give a great amount of souls early. I don't know what I did, but this cat just disappeared and said I was a traitor, but whatever. I see a door that looks suspiciously like a boss door. I know what's coming. And I think, oh, it's Sif. It's Sif. This was the first boss in the game that actually gave me a little bit of trouble. With his big sword in that mouth really knocks me over. But after a few deaths, I started to learn through some really easy methods of just staying under his feet. But seeing him limp when he was on low health broke me down. Miyazaki, why? And once you learn the lore of Sif and that he didn't want the same fate that fell upon his master to fall upon you because he is guarding the Abyss Ring, it just hurts even more. He didn't deserve this. Now with nothing else to do, I guess I have to go back to the poison swamps. Slowly trekking through the pain of poison bug, grotesque crackheads, and more. And it just keeps going deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper. Oh, I think it went a little too deep. If you don't get lost like me, you'll make it to Quella's. Women stuck on a spider body. She has a sick fire sword and fire breath. I heard she was hard, but first tried her. It's easy. Probably because I really did not want to track back through the swamp again, and I really wanted to continue playing the game. Traveling down, we ring the second bell of awakening and awaken an iron giant and the gates near where the blacksmith was. This brings us to hell. No, like literally hell. There is demons, Capra's demons everywhere. There is a boss you have to defeat, but he just swings his giant arms and you dodge him and then you cut him down. But this reveals a ton of demons, like 8 Capra demons. Yeah, I know when I'm not supposed to be here somewhere. My fault, OG. I do know where I'm supposed to go, to Anor Londo. I have a bit of business there, as see this dickhead Lodric killed the Firekeeper and is in Anor Londo. Now this weird snake guy is telling us to obtain the Lord's vessel in Anor Londo, so shit, what else do I gotta do? Better than rotting in a prison. So this gate opens up and this leads to Sin's Fortress. This is one of the hardest dungeons with a swinging axes, tight quarters. Also the first areas with mimics started giving me trust issues. Anytime I see a chest, I'm like, that looks out of place. I don't trust that. But even with how hard this dungeon is, the boss, the Iron Golem, is so easy. He's just another ankle bite boss like in Demon Souls. He goes down so easily. He reminds me of the Iron Golem in Demon Souls. He's almost identical. But with this, we can get yoinked again and now are in Anor Londo, Gwyn City. Higher level knights, giants, demons, bell demons, but it's such a spectacle seeing this giant city. So Laris is here to also help with the boss fight of Ornstein and Smong. I did get invaded while exploring and it freaked me out. I had no idea where this guy was. I did see that the eye was crackling and that I could kill the murderer Lodric, make sure he stayed down for good for killing my Firekeeper and Firelink Shrine. This gives us another Firekeeper soul to upgrade our Estus, but I used it to save the girl that got killed. That means it's time for Ornstein and Smo, the big boy and the Lancer. Their dynamic is so cool. To see one of Gwyn's 4 knights and the Executioner, a grotesque looking armor, is just the coolest in this game. Having to deal with both is difficult unless you have Solaire. Now, I didn't beat him with Solaire because I committed a cardinal sin. During one of my reloads back to the Ember, I accidentally hit R1 and hit Solaire, and no matter how hard I tried to reset the game, he would just not un-aggro. So I sent him to an early grave. I must have my sins forgiven. That means I'm solo. Weirdly enough, I actually beat it solo the first 2 times, as when you summon someone for bosses, they have higher health, and defense, and damage. So I was able to knock out Ornstein, and that only left Smo. He absorbs all of Ornstein's power, and with his belly fat and electric power, it makes it difficult. He'll just sit on you and instantly kill you. He is doable with the correct timing and unga bunga. Also, in this legacy dungeon, I got Havel's armor. It's a secret area. A guy put a message down that said try rolling, and all I can say, whoever this is who put this message down, thank you. Thank you. As once I got the stamina, this was my main armor. It was so beefy, nothing could beat it. Now, of course, I tried to wear it all at once, but I started fat rolling. With Smo and Ornstein finished, I am told to expect a nice view, and ooh, that gives us the Lord Vessel. We can continue Gwyn's legacy and rekindle the flame. There's a few more bosses left, a few I've already beaten, but there are some blocked until you get this vessel. These bosses are the 4 Kings, Beta Chaos, Nito, and Seep. You need to get the official Lord's Vessel, so go to the Snake Man, you get Eden, and I did not consent to this, but now you can truly begin your hunt for the ones who originally brought out the flame. Each ramp up the difficulty from Ornstein and Small. I slightly struggle with these guys, but I am struggling with these last 4. I started with the 4 Kings as I've beaten Sif and I got the Abyss Ring, exploring New Londo and drawing the water. This area you do need the translucent curse as these fucking ghosts. The lower citizens are these skeletons and monstrous blobs, but it's a quick walk to the 4 Kings. I originally walked down the stairs as I was unsure, but learned you can just fall. The boss room is pure darkness. The lore is this is the Abyss. If I lived down here, I would be insane. The 4 Kings have been here for a while. They had a bit of Gwyn power, and the 4 King now gone insane in this area being trapped in the Abyss. But 4 Kings is a lie. I know for a fact I killed 3 of these on these runs. Was like, okay, bet. There's only 1 left. I got this. And got sneaked by a 5th. Hey, yo, what the fuck? But the trick of the Abyss is in his name. It's supposed to mess with your mind. You aren't supposed to know what's down here. It's supposed to lie to you. But that got me. I was like, oh, 5th? What? Then I moved on to Hell with the lava and fire and beat another Vanguard demon, but he was on fire, and that's really the only difference. I used it to level up to be able to use more of Havel's armor, and then later I made it to the Centipede demon. This boy was difficult. He zones you out all day, and you can't get close as the lava will melt your health. I couldn't beat him at first with his grabs until I found a short corner, and I saw he would chase me into this corner. It was close, but I was able to get him. And then he drops a lava resistance ring. Wow, this would have been helpful earlier. I know what's after this, and it's the Beta Chaos, and I'm not even going to try, as I've seen this boss, and I know what it's like. Good day to you. That leaves me Seif the Scaleless and Nito. Nito was my first choice. I just don't want to do it as the area is filled with darkness. Can't see anything in here. And this is also where I lost 20,000 souls by falling. And I have done it again by falling. But it's not that big of a deal. It was only 2,000 this time. But walking carefully, we make it to a bonfire and an old friend is here. Patches. Up to the same shenanigans. Oh boy, saying there's treasure. Go fuck yourself. Go make some fucking dramas, Patches. But once we're at Nito, he summons all the skeletons, and he will cause poison or bleed buildup. So I made sure to watch out, but also I was not expecting him to have his sword cut through the ground and hit me on the other side when I was trying to heal. But honestly, the easiest of the 4. He jumps with all his skeletons, but my build is just ugga dugga, and they all go down in 1 hit. Next with Seif the Scaleless. He is back in Orlando. I trekked through the Duke's archives until you make the Seifs. Why can't I hit him? You're not supposed to win this. It's bullshit, But it's supposed to get you in this prison, and then you have to run to the real boss, past these crystal golems and invisible ridges. But that brings us to Seif. He had Deathblight with crystals that cover the whole stage. It's a race of, can I kill him before the crystals kill me? Honestly though, you can just stay behind him and you should be good. But on Orlando, there's also 2 more things to do. See, I actually read item descriptions, which I normally don't, and saw that Guinevere left on Orlando and married, so wait, why is she here? Wait a minute. And if you hit her, she disappears and it breaks the illusion. It's in fact Gwendolyn, another son of Gwyn. But there is no more pretty city. It becomes dark and filled with moonlight. And in finding this hallway where Gwendolyn is, he will zone you out, calling you a heretic, using all his magic. But I just used a shield that was magic resistant, and it was a cakewalk. At the same time, there's also this painting with Priscilla, but Priscilla doesn't want to fight you. So I have no purpose doing this. But that leaves the bed of chaos. Returning to hell, this is a giant tree who was once the Witch of Izalith. This boss is another gimmick. There is no reset which you die, which is thank God. And you only need to hit him 3 times, 1 on each side and 1 in the middle. This boss is annoying, and not hard fun, but annoying hard. The stage begins to crack and disappear, and he has these limbs that do all the damage in the world, and it doesn't help that you have to go through the limbs just to get to the damage, and the boss run itself is no fun. You're just running through lava. Even when I won, I still lost. But with all that done, that leaves Gwen, the final boss. With all the Lord Souls and all the content, I get eaten again and travel to the last place. I like how the last of Gwen's knights are barely alive or as ghosts to the flames. But in the room, we make it with Gwen. And I assumed Gwen would be making some heavy metal, but no, a light piano, as Gwen only has his battle spirit left. But with all his power, he fights in his insanity. And the flame sword, the heavy moves he gives to me with no time to heal, man, what a boss fight. Every time you walk, and he is straight to the fight. His speed and power, he hits me 3 times, and sometimes I fall before I even make it to the boss. Fuck! Each fight, I use what I've learned. I've learned nothing. I've been swinging a giant sword the whole time, and I kill him in 10 hits. And in 10 hits, I become the new lord. I can kindle the flame or leave. I decided to kindle the flame as that's the canonical ending, and as that, we end Dark Souls. Ah, what a game. I see why people love Dark Souls, the world, how every area feels connected and together. You can find shortcuts to other areas of the world, and it creates such an intertwined world. NPCs like Andre and the Old Wizard, Solaire, people who have kept their sanity are not hollowed. I love how almost all the NPCs have a theme, a lesson, goals. They feel like they have their own adventure. I've realized how spoiled I was with Elden Ring. Some of these boss runs, like the run to Pinwheel, the run to Bed of Chaos, I miss Elden Ring and the bosses just being right there. But the charm of Dark Souls is so high. The world, the lights, the area, the story. I'm even missing doing the DLC. The game has instantly made me happy that I'm doing this review. I felt some of Miyazaki's best here. I see this story, the decision to kindle the flame or leave the world. It is supposed to change, and kindling it breaks the natural order, but it keeps the world as it is. And some want that and others don't. A new world where things may change for better or worse, or keep it the same where things are already bad, but you know how bad it is. And it just leaves you with a choice. What do you want to do? How do you want to leave your mark on the world as the chosen undead?